and welcome to the Sophos Cloud Security Provider course. This course provides technical training on Sophos Cloud Optics, an AI-powered next-generation cloud infrastructure security platform. In particular, the training focuses on the integration with various third-party services, including Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and the Google Cloud Platform. This enables us to provide capabilities that include continuous security monitoring and visibility, compliance, remediation, and DevSecOps, being infrastructure as code. It is designed to provide you with the knowledge of how to integrate Cloud Optics with all supported public cloud providers, infrastructure as code processes, and various service desk platforms. Also, we'll be looking at alerting and logging platforms. We recommend that students have the following knowledge and experience: understanding of infrastructure as a service concept, the understanding of cloud security posture management, experience with either AWS, Azure, or the Google Cloud Platform, experience with security monitoring and alerting, or incident response, understanding of DevOps, or infrastructure as code concepts, understanding of containers such as Kubernetes, and the general understanding of compliance or Government Risk and Compliance (GRC) standards. Please take note that when you see this icon in the corner, it means that you can find additional information in the notes of the student handout. This could include detailed steps on how to carry out a process, links to where to download or obtain pieces of code or further information, and links to documentation and to our Sophos knowledge base articles. Once you've completed this course, you'll be able to understand and describe the functionality of Cloud Optics, integrate Cloud Optics with AWS, Azure, and the Google Cloud Platform, integrate Cloud Optics with Kubernetes and infrastructure as code environments, integrate Cloud Optics with service desk ticketing and alerting platforms, and perform initial troubleshooting for everything that we just mentioned. Firstly, let's start off by talking about what Cloud Optics actually is. Cloud Optics is a software as a service, or a SaaS, an agentless cloud security posture management solution. Cloud security posture management solutions are a new type of security tool. They're designed to address the unique challenges that customers face today when trying to properly secure the cloud infrastructure and ensure continuous compliance. To achieve those goals, Sophos Cloud Optics uses a three-pronged approach, which focuses on helping customers increase their visibility in these environments. It provides the tools necessary to ensure that these dynamic and ever-changing environments are secured according to the governance policies that are in line with any compliance regulations. It also helps security, operations, and development teams effectively and efficiently respond to security incidents and remediate issues such as misconfigurations. So, let's spend a moment talking about what Cloud Optics is not, as there is some confusion due to this being a very new technology. Cloud Optics is not a CASB solution. CASB is fairly well-established technology that is used to identify the usage of cloud services or applications, and then to enforce security policies as it relates to their usage. So essentially, CASB is often used by customers to identify shadow IT usage, which simply means internal users on-premise that are connecting to and using various cloud services, such as Box, G Suite, and so on. By identifying this usage, organizations can then ensure that their usage is in line with internal security and compliance policies. For example, they can control access or ensure sensitive data is properly controlled. Cloud Optics is not a cloud asset management solution or a CAM solution. CAM solutions are mostly focused on helping with cost optimization. Optics is also not an application security tool. Application security tools are used to scan customer code to find vulnerabilities that may lead to exploits. Optics is instead scanning the cloud infrastructure to identify vulnerabilities. In each of these cases, there are either overlaps in certain features or similarities in approach. The thing to note with Cloud Optics is there is a fully featured cloud security posture management solution designed to help customers maintain a secure cloud posture across multiple clouds and accounts, and it provides teams with the tools needed to effectively coordinate responses to issues that may arise. So why did Sophos acquire this technology? The reason is that public cloud environments present new and unique data security challenges which traditional security technology cannot fully address. What we're talking about here is the actual security posture of these public cloud environments, which often span multiple accounts as well as multiple cloud platforms. Helping customers visualize and respond to security threats anywhere is a key part of Sophos' overall strategy. This is our vision, and it's called Synchronized Security. Synchronized Security allows Sophos products to communicate and share contextual security data, which is then used to greatly enhance the organization's overall security posture. As most organizations have extended into the public cloud, Cloud Optics now provides the needed visibility into these environments. Cloud Optics also complements our existing solutions for public cloud security, which focus on providing additional layers of security in the cloud, by providing options for securing virtual network parameters and providing advanced host protection. Essentially, Cloud Optics give customers the tools that they need to ensure their cloud infrastructure is secure and compliant, and our next-gen firewalls and server workload protection agents add the suggested security layers which sit on top of the cloud infrastructure. Please refer to the following CSP modules for more information on these solutions, how to implement them, and how they can help your customers. This module is broken down into the following topics. For AWS, Azure, GCP, and Kubernetes, we'll look at how to deploy, undo a deployment, and then how to troubleshoot those deployments if there are any issues that arise. We'll also look at how to use Terraform for AWS deployment purposes. Next, we'll have a look at how to integrate with common DevOps tools like GitHub, Bitbucket, and Jenkins in the Infrastructure as Code section of this module. We will then close out this module by looking at the service integrations with common third-party support tools such as Altizen Jira, ServiceNow, PagerDuty, and Splunk, as well as the integration with Teams communication tools in the form of Slack. Lastly, we'll then examine integrations with platform-level security assessment tools in the form of Amazon GuardDuty. So, let's start with AWS and look at how to add an AWS account to your Cloud Optics console. Adding an AWS account to Cloud Optics is a three-step process. Firstly, we'll need to create a user in IAM, with programmatic access enabled and the appropriate permissions. Next, we'll need to set up the AWS command line client on a local machine to run the deployment scripts. Lastly, we'll download and run those deployment scripts. Let's take a look at how all of this works in a short demonstration.
To create a new IAM user, first open the AWS portal and navigate to IAM. There, select Users from the left-hand menu. Then, click on the Add User button. Enter a name for the new user, and make sure to tick the Programmatic Access type in the Access Type section. Click Next to proceed with the user creation. We do this by setting the user permissions. In the Permissions screen, select Add User to Group and click Create Group to create a new group for this user. We recommend creating a new group instead of setting permissions on an individual basis, as this makes it easier to keep track of user permissions, share permissions, and centrally revoked permissions if needed later. We then enter a name for the new group and click Create Policy. On the next screen, enter a name and description for the new policy, and select the JSON editor and copy the contents from the link section in the student handout notes of the Sophos Cloud Optics knowledge base into the policy editor field. Click Review Policy and make sure the copied permissions are all accounted for. If everything looks correct, click Create Policy to save the new policy and continue. Now that the policy has been created, switch back to the User Creation tab and select the newly created policy from the list. Click Create Group and enter any tags you wish to use in the Add Tag section on the next screen. Once done, click Next to review the permissions and properties of the new user you've just created. If the review of the user looks correct, click Create User to complete the process. Make sure to note both the access key ID and secret key ID, as both are required in later steps of the configuration process. With the user creation complete, let's move on to the next step, setting up AWS CLI. Deployment of CloudOptix relies on the availability of the Bash scripting language and curl in addition to the AWS CLI. As such, we'll provide instructions on how to set up AWS CLI on Linux and Mac OS X systems, as well as how to set up a functional Linux environment inside Windows 10 using the Windows subsystem for Linux. Note that, while it is theoretically possible to get CloudOptix AWS scripts to run on Windows, this is not a supported option at the time of writing. To set up the AWS CLI for Mac OS X, we begin by downloading the bundled installer. Check if Python is installed on your system, and what version you have installed on your local system by running python -version. In case Python 2.x or Python 3 is not present on your system, make sure to look up your distribution's help for instructions on how to install these packages. With the presence and version of Python verified, install pip using Python 2.x by running either sudo yum install python-pip or sudo apt install python-pip. With pip installed, you can now install the AWS CLI by running pip install AWS CLI -upgrade -user for Python 2x systems, or pip 3 install AWS CLI -upgrade -user for systems running Python 3. Once setup completes, make sure the process completed successfully and the required patches have been added to the environment variables by running AWS -version and see if you receive an output. Proceed by running AWS configure to set up the AWS CLI with the credentials of the user created in the previous setup steps. Enter the access key, followed by the secret ID of the new user. Select the preferred default region, and make sure to change the output of the AWS CLI to JSON. With the user created and AWS CLI set up, all that's left to do in order to add your AWS account to your CloudOptix environment is to run the deployment script. To do this, start by opening the CloudOptix console and navigating to the Environments item under Settings in the left-hand menu. Click Add Environment to open the Add New Environment menu, then select the AWS tab. If you wish to customize the AWS deployment of CloudOptix, such as when you wish to disable the use of flow logs, reuse existing CloudTrails, or only deploy a particular region inside AWS, click the Click Here to customize your AWS installation link and set the desired parameters. Complete the customizations, if desired again, by clicking Generate Install Configuration to generate the required commands. Regardless of whether you chose to customize the installation, proceed by opening a bash shell on your OS of choice, copying the instructions in step 2a into the terminal and running them. Now that the deployment script has been downloaded, copy either the instructions in step 2b or the customized instructions generated previously into the terminal window and run them. Follow any additional on-screen instructions and then wait until the script completes.
Now that we've discussed the steps required to add an AWS environment, let's examine the steps required to remove an account. This process consists of 2 steps. Firstly, you delete the environment from the CloudOptix console. You will then run the removal script in the AWS account you wish to remove. This will complete the process and clean up any settings and components enabled by CloudOptix in the AWS account. Let's take a look at how all of this works in a short demonstration.
The process consists of 2 steps. First, you delete the environment from the CloudOptix console. Then, you'll need to run the removal script in the AWS account you wish to remove to complete the process, and clean up any settings and components enabled by CloudOptix in the AWS account. As we have covered, the first step in the removal process is to delete the environment from the CloudOptix console. To do this, navigate to the CloudOptix console, Environments, Settings. Find the AWS account you wish to remove in the list, and click the red dustbin icon to commence the removal of your data in CloudOptix. Please note, however, that clicking the dustbin icon will also open a pop-up menu. This menu contains the scripts and details needed to complete this process. Therefore, you must ensure you make a note of these details, as you will need them. Select the Please confirm that you wish to continue checkbox and click OK to complete the process in CloudOptix. Next step is to run the removal script in the AWS account. To do this, open up a bash shell, then copy and run the script you made a copy of when deleting the environment from the CloudOptix console. When the command completes downloading the removal script, copy and run the instructions you made a copy of when deleting the environment from the CloudOptix console.
By default, the CloudOptix scripts log all outputs to a file labeled AvidSecure script output.log. This file contains all events and errors that took place and serves as both a tool for Sophos support as well as the engineer doing the deployment to help determine if the script ran into permission issues, internet access related problems, or other events that may have caused the deployment to fail. Input for this log is the script output, which shows these errors and warnings on screen during the execution of script as well. When using a compatible Linux distribution, it uses color coding. This helpfully makes it very easy to distinguish between errors that are displayed in red and warnings that are displayed in yellow. Regardless of the cause of the deployment problem, it is imperative to run the rollback script before attempting another deployment of the AWS account. The rollback script is displayed in the Add New Environment page, in the same section as the deployment instructions for AWS. AWS is currently also the only platform for which CloudOptix supports deployment through a non-native tool in the form of Terraform. The steps needed to deploy an AWS account through Terraform are quite similar to the scripted deployment steps. You start by navigating to Add New Environment, Settings, AWS Account, and then click on Terraform. This will provide the commands needed to download the required comments. Copy the command and run it in a Bash Shell command window. This will download a zipped file. You then unzip the file and save it as the Terraform init, and then of course the folder path. You can then optionally customize your deployment or select to use the default settings. In both cases, you'll need to copy and run the relevant command in a Bash Shell. Whichever command you used, it is vitally important that you make a note of the output, as you will require this information to complete the deployment. You then switch back to the CloudOptix console and click Generate the Command. Here you will input the details that you saved previously, copy the command returned, and run it in the Bash Shell. This will complete the deployment process. We will now have a look at a short video that provides a demonstration of what this looks like.
The steps needed to deploy an AWS account through Terraform are quite like the scripted deployment steps. You start by navigating to the Add New Environment page in the CloudOptix Settings page. There, scroll down on the AWS Account tab until you reach the Terraform section. Open a Bash Shell and run the command as shown in this demo to download the required components for Terraform. The commands used are all listed in the student handout and on the Sophos knowledge base and documentation pages. Unzip the downloaded file to a local folder, then enter Terraform init, followed by the path to the local folder you just unzipped the previously downloaded file in, followed by enter. Next, you can customize the deployment by clicking the Customize Your Setup link in the CloudOptix console, similar to the scripted method. If you chose to customize the deployment, run the generated command in the Bash Shell. If you're using the default settings, the next step is to run the command displayed in step 3 in the Bash Shell. Once the command in the previous step has been completed, make sure to note the output in the Bash Shell, as we'll need this info in the next steps. Back in the CloudOptix console, click the Generate the Command link. Enter the details we received after running the previous script in the appropriate fields. Then click Generate Command to create the final command needed to deploy through Terraform. Complete the process by copying the generated command and running it in the bash shell.
Now, unlike the process for AWS, the Azure deployment process is 2 steps. The first step is only required for new Azure accounts where Cloud Shell has never been launched previously. Here, we assume the Cloud Shell has not been used before. Once you have set up Cloud Shell, you will be able to deploy CloudOptix for your Azure subscription in a similar scripted manner to AWS. So now we've had a look at the steps required, let's have a look at an actual video demonstration of this happening.
So, we're starting with setting up the Azure Cloud Shell in case you've never used it on this subscription previously. Log into the Azure portal and click the Cloud Shell icon, which looks like a greater than sign and an underscore. It is found in the top right navigation icons in the portal. Select the subscription you wish to use with the Cloud Shell and click Create Storage to set up persistent storage for your Cloud Shell environment. If you're so inclined, you can choose to manually specify whether Azure should use a new or existing resource group, storage account, and file share for this purpose. Once Azure completes creating the configuration resources, make sure to select the PowerShell CLI and wait until it becomes available before proceeding with the deployment instructions. Open the Azure Cloud Shell and start a PowerShell-based shell. Navigate to the Environment section in the CloudOptix console under Settings and go to the Azure Subscription tab. There, copy and execute the relevant command into the Azure Cloud Shell window to download the deployment script. All commands used are all listed in the student handout and on the Sophos knowledge base, as well as the documentation pages. Next, we start the deployment process for your Azure subscription by copying and running the commands found in the student handout, knowledge base, or documentation. Note that you have the option to customize the deployment similar to AWS by clicking the Enable Logs slider to disable flow logs and audit event capture in Azure. Now that the deployment script is running in the Azure Cloud Shell, it will ask which subscriptions to add to CloudOptix. The default is all. If you do not wish to add all subscriptions currently accessible by the logged in user, enter N for no and enter the subscription ID or IDs separated by commas for the environment you wish to add. Once the script completes, it will ask you to visit a particular URL to authorize read-only access in AD for CloudOptix, which is needed to inventorize and track users. This step is optional if you don't wish CloudOptix to provide these additional security features for you.
Now that we've discussed how to add a new Azure subscription, let's go over how to remove one from CloudOptics as well. The removal process is largely similar to the process that we previously described for AWS accounts. Again, the first step is to delete the environment from CloudOptics, followed by running a script in the subscription that we've just removed to clean up the CloudOptics components. The removal steps from CloudOptics are identical to the ones we described for AWS accounts. You start by opening the CloudOptics console, navigating to the environment of the settings item, selecting the environment you wish to remove from the list, and then clicking the red dustbin icon. This will prompt the removal pop-up with the script instructions like in the AWS example before. Again, however, please note these instructions somewhere for later reference. Then tick Please confirm that you wish to continue before clicking OK to delete the environment from your CloudOptics console. The scripted removal part of this process is slightly different, though the first steps of the process are fairly similar. You start by signing into the Azure portal with a user account that has at least the owner role in the subscription and the rights in the associated Azure AD or Active Directory. Navigate to the Azure Cloud Shell and start a PowerShell. Navigate to the integrations console duty from the check the end and then click Save to disable the service integration in CloudOptics. With that done, let's make sure to clean up any remnants of the integration in page